Hello, you're watching Avenue X, and this is a rant video of a recently finished airing drama on the platform Tencent called 听说你喜欢我 Love Heals. This is a 36 episodes contemporary drama produced by 耀客传媒 and 火花传媒, directed by Yang Yang, who is also the director of last year's Dream of Splendor. It's written by Wang Jie, 张楚瑜, led by 彭冠英, Wang Churan. The drama was shot from August to December 2021, and it's based on an existing novel with the same title, written by the author Ji Xiangye. These are the background information about this drama. I watched up to the middle of episode 11 and just couldn't continue doing it. It was frankly way too punishing for my mental health. I don't have a rating for this drama because I haven't watched through the whole thing. The drama would have to pay me for me to watch through it. If you happen to like it and don't want to hear anybody say bad things about it, exit now. Or maybe you can use my video as your training ground for learning how to never get provoked. Where should I start with what I want to rant about this drama? To give you an overall picture in case you haven't watched this drama, female lead character is the junior student of the same medical school that this guy also went into. She is single-sidedly pretty much in love with this guy. She puts him on the pedestal and worships him and somehow ends up marrying him, which she considers almost as her great luck. After married for a while, their marriage fails because honestly this guy doesn't really care about her much. 6 years later, they meet again. They ended up in the same hospital for a while, and it's the broken mirror gets put back together story. This drama happens to hit all the landmines I can imagine in this type of genre. I'm not saying this type of story cannot be written, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen in reality. It happens all the time. But to spend millions of RMB making such a thing, getting all the people together to work for months to shoot this thing, edit it out, put it out, it's a piece of work that would impact, right, the society and the people it reaches, whether it's very little impact or very big. And you have to consider what kind of stuff you're putting out these days, whether it still makes sense for the current society. In the story, it's contemporary time. It's the 2010s time. Chinese metropolis city, people can actually afford to go to medical schools. You already are some of the best doing people in the society. It does not make sense basically for the girl to act in that way, to become so timid and humble in front of this guy. Because of what? He's good looking, he's tall, he's clever, he's the best student of his year, he's like the star of the school, okay? But you are not in any way super lacking in that department. You are bloody pretty, and you're clever enough to get into medical school. Maybe you're not as old as him and you are not so confident in your whatever study, but you still enter the same university. That means you are just as good. And it's not like we're living in 200 years ago where a woman does not have any means to support herself independently. She has to marry somebody. We live in a society where you can go and become a doctor yourself, and that clearly is what you're trying to do. Otherwise, why are you in the medical school? So the whole thing of she being so humbled in front of this guy is like, why? And if you say she has some kind of like personality thing that's caused by her growing up environment, her original family, her parents, well, build it up. There's no built up in this drama. She comes from a very normal family of very normal parents who are not in any way starved of resources that she needs to be so hyper aware of, like she's not good enough. And the guy doesn't love her. He just got ditched by his long-term girlfriend, and this younger girl comes up to him and saying, I like you, and he just hugs her and fine. What? What kind of man are you? You don't like the woman. You're just taking her as what? Spare tire? This girl is pretty. And then she's so unreservedly loving me, so maybe just take advantage of that? I can't understand. If any guy acts like that, how can he be qualified as the main character of the story? The story will go to the point where they break up. He still doesn't quite feel he's done wrong, and a couple of years later, he meets the girl again. They kind of have the second chance, and then this time he really starts to fall in love with her, and then ended up like eventually they're together. I know how it goes, okay? But all I'm saying is, first, what makes it make sense for a woman to enter that kind of relationship and completely destroys her self's identity and self-esteem, and then still decide to come back with this guy later when she's definitely built herself up much more? Why would you go back to that kind of guy? Psychologically, I just don't see like how that can make sense. And for this guy, how can you act as if you well deserve it? I mean, I've watched to episode 11 and the two timelines are going together. So you'll see their first marriage and you'll see them meeting again and it develops at the same time. At least by episode 11, I don't see this guy in any way feel sorry. A couple of examples if you haven't watched. In their first marriage, when they get married on the day, that night, the guy got the call. There's an emergency surgery that he needs to do. The girl is having a shower and he just walks up to the bathroom and shouts, I am calling for emergency surgery. I need to go. You just go to sleep. If too late, don't wait for me. He walks away and the girl is in the water. So she thought he is calling her to, be quick. When she gets out of the shower, the guy is already gone. So the woman on her marriage night sleeps on the sofa for a whole night. Next morning, the guy comes back from the surgery and she's like, where did you go? And he said, I told you. And she immediately, okay, there's not even one moment that she is in any way has a little bit pent up anger because it's my marriage night and my husband disappeared. And she immediately becoming a nice understanding wife. It's like, oh, okay, fine. Then I didn't hear you. Sorry, it's my fault. And let me make breakfast for you. I can't watch that. I don't care how they're gonna reason it for the next 20 episodes. It already does not make sense for 2010s contemporary Chinese world. And then another part of this plot in the first 11 episodes that made me every moment when I see it, I want to jump in the screen and squeeze the life out of certain characters. It's the part that in their second life, 6 years after, when they meet again in the hospital, the absolutely morally kidnapping level of plot of making the guy's adopted son insist that the female lead is his mother. Basically, 6 years after they meet again, and she realizes he is not married, he's still single, but he has a son, and the son is 6-year-old, which is exactly how long they've broken up, means the kid must be born out of a woman who got pregnant before that, and all that. So she feels very about the whole thing. And the kid found photos of them marrying. So the kid realized that this lady used to be married to his father. 6-year-old boy jumps on this woman and saying, you are my mother. You have to admit you're my mother because you're married to my dad. Why don't you admit you're my mother? And the female lead is like, I'm not your mother. But the boy insisted. And then she just stopped arguing. She never just tried to sit the kid down because the kid is very clever. He's very clever in everything else. And when you watch the drama, very normal operating kid. But then just with this one thing, he is stupid. She'll never bother to be very stern and serious, sitting down with the boy and telling the boy, I used to be married to your father, yes, but I am not your biological mother. We got married that year, we got divorced that year, you were born at that time, there's no way that I can be your mother. Go figure. There's never a scene like that. And she just kind of flows with it. I don't know if she wants the boy to believe that she is the biological mother or not. Because in her words, she's like, I'm not your mother. But then in her actions, she takes care of the boy. The boy wants her to do this. Take me to theme park. Take me to this. And she would do it. I'm like, what the heck? And then the worst part is, the kid is actually not biologically, I think, the man's kid is adopted, but he does not bother to explain that to the woman. 6 years after when you met your ex-wife, you have a kid now. And she definitely is not sure about what is going on because the kid's age is awkward. And he never for one scene, at least in the first 11 episodes I've watched, explained to her in any way. Where does the kid come from? Who is the mother? What happened between you? Is this your biological kid? He never bothers to explain that. And he just also goes with it. And almost in a way encourages the kid to continue calling this woman mother in a soft and very insidious way, forcing her to get connected to him again. That's so morally despicably disgusting. And that part of the plot where the kid continues calling her mother is for the plot device to create all those things that only a family can have and all those funny, romantic, happy moments, supposedly, but it's so twisted. With this girl who has no bottom line of her self-esteem, sacrifice everything for the guy and eventually have a broken first marriage, and then coming back again and somehow just not having a problem with this guy working with her, and they're kind of starting building a second round of relationship. With that part and the child part, that's already enough. I stopped watching this drama, but I thought, since it just finished airing, let's see how it ends. I'm just curious to see. And then I clicked open episode 34. Holy moly. Hand grenade exploding and almost killing the guy. Okay, you have that kind of classic moment where the woman comes to rescue of the guy, and because of that life and death situation, it kind of pushes them to the last leg of the relationship, and she finally is like, oh my god, I love him so much, I don't care about this. Okay, fine, you can do that. But the next thing that happens afterwards is he got amnesia. 2023. Can we just stop doing that? It's late 90s Korean drama. It's the leukemia with brothers and sisters, and then there's a car crash and you forget everything thing. That is so outdated. When I see that part, I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what they've done in previous episodes. That's like well done. If it is, does not matter. When they have this ending, it erases everything. It erases everything. Validity of anything. Just crashes into the worst part of drama land, tropey land that exists on planet Earth. Honestly, I'm just happy that I didn't watch the next 20 episodes to actually spend and waste my life and get into that point and see that plot happening on screen. Oh, I forgot one thing. Shit. That during the first marriage thing, she gave up an offer to a school that says Johns School. So I pretty much believe that's Johns Hopkins, okay? Of doing her master's degree. She gave that up so that she can marry the guy. I do not believe in today's time, in 2010s, you have a girl who is as pretty as Wang Chuan, intelligent, getting to medical school, she can get an offer from Johns Hopkins, and she would give all that up for a guy to marry and be the little housewife. And no matter if that guy is Peng Guanying or Jing Chengwu or the emperor of the heavenly realm, oh god, Loki, I don't care, like Chris Hemsworth, whoever. No other man in this world, no matter how good-looking, rich, powerful they are, deserves that kind of sacrifice. Tell me, if that actually makes sense to you? If you say you love somebody to the point where you want to sacrifice so much, it needs to be a mutual relationship. You want to sacrifice that much for the guy would also do the same for you, and you are actually equal in that relationship. And then you arrive at the conclusion that we don't want to take this offer. It needs to be done on the level where both parties are first aware of that and they actually have lengthy discussion. And then if that happens, that's fine. That's a conclusion you've arrived at and you will both take responsibilities for it. But in this drama, she's just self-moving herself for sacrificing that. She doesn't tell the guy, and the guy doesn't even love her at all. And then she does that. That just is... I'd rather take a nap and clean my carpet than watching a drama like that. That's the end of this ranting video. It's very unstructured. I can't talk about this type of thing in structure. I am baffled and filled with anger. And also, I actually find a lot of comments on internet about people in every way trying to reasoning it out, trying to reason the whole action of the female out and saying it's actually making sense. And if they were in her shoe, they do that. I'm like, I wish you all the happiness and luck and go and find a husband like that in your life or a wife like that in your life, and then just sacrifice everything you have for that person, and when the person doesn't return anything to you, I'll be happy because you chose it. This is the type of story I will never ship, I'll never buy into, I'll never support, and frankly speaking, do not understand why it gets made in 2023. And I also sincerely hope that everybody who's watching my video, whoever you are, if that's in any way a reflection of things in your life, always think of yourself first. Put yourself on the priority list. Particularly, don't do it for somebody that you just dream about in the distant. You love them, but they don't know you, and they don't care about you, and it's just not worth doing that for anything, whether it's marriage or for anything, to sacrifice yourself. Put other people you imagine you love so much before your own good. It's pathetic. That should be the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I'm New X. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama watching.